We are live. My name is Lucas Wenzel, and I am joined by the king of the basement, Ron Stewart. Ron, thanks for giving us a few. In about an hour of your time, we'll crush a best ball draft here. But yeah, appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've been following along. I know you've been crushing it on TikTok. You're in the dapper underdog shirt here. I was talking to you before we went live here, but yeah, man, I'm excited to get in here, get some takes off. I've been firing off these they have the $3 drafts out right now that I've been messing around with as well. So I'm excited to get some drafting done. It's June, lots of takes to get off my chest personally.
I'm excited to dive into them because I feel like I'm at that point too where like we're halfway through June. It's still early enough in the off season, but this feels like the time where I actually need to start forming takes on players that I've just kind of been like indecisive on or have just kind of played like the middle road on for most of the offseason thus far. And not that I can't play that for a little while longer, but like Kyron Williams is one of those guys where I'm like, I feel like I got to quit playing the line on him. I got to take a stand sooner or later. Do I think Blake Corum is actually a threat, or is Kyron actually a threat for top 5 upside this year? Do I actually believe in that? How many drafts have you done so far? I know you said you were dipping into the $3 ones a bit. How many best ball manias have you cranked out so far?
Let's see. I want to say BBMs I've cooled off on a little bit, but I don't know. I'm kind of all over with my scheduling in general, to be honest. I don't know. I'm like, man, I don't want to fill these up. I saw somebody on Twitter the other day has filled all 150 of his BBMs, which is
Yeah.
just insane in June. But I would say I think I'm like just shy of 20 right now. I think overall I maxed the big board. I maxed I think the Poodle was just out, the $7 entry. So I've been messing around on the lower stake stuff, trying to kind of, because we don't get a lot of actionable information. Like right now, we definitely have, I don't know, you get reports on like Braylon Allen. You had like there's like some Jaleel McLaughlin buzz today, but
Oh
like
my gosh.
also, I would like, I want to get the training camp where we get like more stuff where, like your late season Pacheco's. And I think there was,
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I was not a Puka guy last year, but I want to say the guys who were on Puka said there was some buzz in like late August, mid August on Puka Nacua. So there's definitely some edges to be had. So yeah, I'm only at 18 BBMs right now, but kind of slowly trickling them in as we get going here. I think I have 34 for the 2024 season. But I did 153 before the NFL draft, so that's where we're at right now.
so you so yeah, you really maxed that sucker out beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go back to that tweet that I saw that exact same one, and I like just got a curiosity. I'm scrolling through because I knew people were going to ask like, what in the world? Why are you maxing this out? Before July even. He's like, I had other things I like to do with my summer. I'm like,
Yeah.
I would much rather max out like, what is it, Mini Schnauzer that's out right now?
Yeah.
Mini Schnauzer, they just had Poodle out. They had, the big board, not big board, Puppy Super Flex, Hound Dog, right? All these like $3, $4, $5, $6 entries are the ones that I'm really targeting and trying to max out right now.
And it's 20 entry max, which is nice too. So
right.
you don't have to do 150,
Right. When the wife is working on a Saturday evening and I got nothing else to do, so I'll crank out like 7 of those on a given night, and crank those out. Let's dive on in. We'll do a best ball mania right now because you said you're through about 18. I'm sitting at about, I think I'm right around 14, 15 right now. So yeah, I'm trying to keep slow the pace a little bit, but not too afraid to keep going. So let's dive on in if you want to join in. Best ball mania 5 over on Underdog Fantasy. Let's see here. Oh, we got plenty of room in this lobby still. Ron and I we'll be drafting the same team together. Any NFFC drafts in the pipeline? Probably, I'm going to be honest, probably not. Underdog is a big supporter of ours. We love, if you can't tell, Ron's got a neon sign in the background. Underdog's a big supporter. So, admittedly, probably not, but, maybe we'll throw in an additional live where we hop in 1 or 2 of those. Number 1 FF guy, keep up the great work. Hey, we do our best for you, Brody. Draft guide just came out 11 days ago. If you haven't gotten your hands on that, I believe it's down in the description of the stream you are watching. Is a draft PPR or non-PPR? Underdog drafts are all half PPR. So it's the nice middle ground of, these running backs like Rachaad Whites of the world who catch, 70 passes in a given year. They're not overly inflated, but yet they still get the credit, where it's deserved. Yeah, second week, pick up on Puka for a win. Yeah, I mean, Puka, like Debro was one of the guys last year who was like all in on Puka. You brought that up
Yeah.
earlier on, and he was one who like he put me on. Well, I should say he put me on Puka. When he started talking about Puka, I piped up a little bit, and I did end up taking Puka quite a bit in best ball then. But
dude, I had
you
none.
never have enough. You
I had
couldn't.
none, man. I got him on waivers though. That's really all I can say. On waivers, I do the rookie wide receiver report on my channel where I kind of track through the rookie wide receivers, and he popped early, so I was just like, go all in on your waivers. But yeah, in best ball, man, I wish. I don't even know. I think if I was drafted like an 18th round Rams receiver, it sadly was probably Tutu Atwell, man. Who he started okay. But just nothing really happened there.
Right. Well, and yeah, you still got a handful of weeks out of Tutu. Tutu was a common scroll down late round click.
Yeah.
Man, I'm still upset I didn't draft more Puka last year, but hindsight's 2020.
Me too. Kyron as well, man.
Oh gosh, I know Kyron was one of those where like he was on the winning best ball team BBM 4 team last year, and it was like a 17th round click or something like that. Couldn't believe that. You got thoughts on HN this year?
Me, I love HN, man. I know that there's a lot of there's a lot of fear with HN, and I definitely understand it, like the workload concerns, the injury concerns, but especially in a format like this where it's best ball, you don't have to really worry about it. I want the guy that can put up like a 50-point week in like week 15 and just like absolutely take you there. So I don't know. I also don't want to sell Raheem Mostert short because I do think that in this Miami backfield as well, they can both pay off as they did last year, but like Mostert, his entire career, he has not held up in his entire career. I mean, he scored like 21 touchdowns last year, I think, which I think before that, he never even scored double digits. Like, he's not a goal line back. Not saying HN is either, but the idea that like Mostert's this like workhorse that's going to keep HN off the field for like a meaningful amount of time, I'm not sure. I'd rather bet on the kind of the young stud, kind of trust Mike McDaniel to use him. So yeah, like honestly, especially in the second round where everything feels flat, right? And it's like, I don't know, like Nico Collins, like the whole second round sucks. So it's just like I'll take HN in the second and kind of just build that way. I don't mind the idea of like wide receiver HN, wide receiver a bunch more, and then kind of build that way.
I mean, what it comes down to for me, I mean, you nailed it, is like, can you give me 50? And if I can get that in the second round, I will take that all day. Second round. And it's not that like we talk about Raheem Mostert's durability. It's not like HN is a clean bill of health either. He missed his handful of games last year, but I mean, when he was on the field, he was still, was dominant as ever. Get into a few more. We're waiting on 5 more here. If you want to hop in, head over to Underdog. You can sign up with our code fellas. They'll give you a free square for the pick'em lobby, give you a $250 welcome bonus as well in the form of a deposit match. While we wait for a few more people, I guess we can get into a few more questions here. What mode do you all usually play? So, I mean, Ron and I have been talking about 150 entries into these Underdog contests. And what's nice is that there's, like thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands, even the Best Ball Mania is $1.5 million up for grabs. So that's why we play a lot of best ball, but maybe I'll rephrase this question around how much redraft, how many dynasty leagues do you play in? Because you still do like redraft and dynasty content on your channel. It's not like you and I both just do best ball. We both dip into some of that, but what's kind of your balance between redraft, dynasty, and obviously you're cranking out best ball leagues left and right?
Yeah. So dynasty, man, like I'm getting close to maxing out with these dynasty leagues, man. They're a lot to keep up with. I think I'm at like 12 or 13 right now. I know some people out there are crazy and they'll have like 30 or 40. Like 13 for me, and it's like, man, like that's about the cap for me. So I have like 13 dynasty leagues, and I was surprised when you saw the NFFC comics. I thought maybe you were a sicko like me who plays. I play in some of these high stakes season long leagues, and they're actually really fun to stream on the channel. Where we'll do like a $350 buy-in and stream it, and like the chat's helping me or roasting me with picks and stuff. And we actually did really well. Like a couple years ago, we came in like top 5 in a tournament. It was sick. So yeah, last year I probably got a little too over my skis. I had like probably over 20 of those. This year I'm trying to scale back to probably more like 10 to 15.
Right.
But yeah, so I did my toe everywhere. I'll have like, a few hundred best ball teams. I'll have like probably 15 redraft managed and then about like, 12 dynasty leagues.
Yeah, I've really admittedly had to cut back ever since. I feel like this is like the weirdest flex in the world, but it's like when I get married, I just have no time for extra fantasy football leagues. So I think I'm sitting at like 6, 7 redraft leagues, 4, 5 dynasty leagues. And even at that, I'm like, man, if I want to like really put diligent time and effort into all these and actually, be an active league participant, I feel like I had to cut back even more. But there is a fine balance. What we like about best ball though is that like these are running so long throughout the offseason. Like they start before the NFL draft. Where you can, if you really want to compete for, again, hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, like these are the drafts to do it in. Because it's basically mock drafting for your teams, and you get a chance at winning a crap ton of money in the process as well. You still do like redraft mock drafts, right? Like you aren't just like solely best ball mock drafts, or have you just kind of ditched the mock draft culture?
Oh, I've ditched the mock draft culture, man. I can't be bothered with the, like auto drafting kickers and just kind of everything that comes with
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I'm exclusively in terms of like getting practice in, it's all underdog or yeah, it's really just underdog because then the other drafts I'm doing are just like normal redraft managed.
Yeah. So we got 111 here. Finally, draft starting up here in about 40 seconds. Where have you been drafting most this year? I feel like I've been stuck either at like 5 or 6 or 10, 11, 12. I feel like I've had nothing inside of the top 4, nor kind of stuck in that 7, 8, 9 range.
I've actually been kind of getting a lot of early picks. Like I've been getting a lot of like I streamed the other day. I got like the first overall pick. I went on Overzet stream. I got like the first overall pick. And I'm not even really crazy about the first, just because I don't know. To me, I want to pick into the top 8 this year, and everything else I don't really care about. So yeah, I've been getting a lot of like early stuff. This is like it kind of sucks that we got the 11 spot because the 11 kind of is one of the worst ones to get. But
Really
the room can screw up. You can get some value sometimes, and then that's how you sort of can create a super team. But
so
not super
that's
likely.
Also, right. So that's also one of the things that I really appreciate about those lower entry contests, not just Best Ball Mania, is I feel like when I've started maxing out, like the Hound Dog, I think it was 5 entry max, $6 entry. I maxed that out in a day, and I feel like every single team I drafted there was like, I don't know what the lobby's up to here, but I feel like I snagged values in every single draft versus when it's Best Ball Mania and it's very clearly $1.5 million as a top prize. I feel like everybody is. I don't want to say taking it more seriously. I feel like the lobbies are a little more sweaty. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
I can say that they're sweaty. You got a preference out of these top guys? Again, you said you're picking top 8. I feel like CMC's the 101 despite being on the Madden cover. CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, Hill, Chase, Amon-Ra. You got a preferred order there?
I don't feel super strongly about it just yet. But I think because like we were talking, it's a little bit early in the offseason, but I think like gun to my head, it would be like I think it would be like almost exactly this order where it would be Lamb, Jefferson. I know Jefferson's like the 5th guy in ADP. I'd probably have him like about 3. I'm not as concerned about the quarterback stuff. I think that he's just the best. But you could talk me to Tyreek over Jefferson. Chase for me comfortably 5th. And then I don't mind what Derek Trey Big did here, especially in a half PPR. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but in a half, I don't mind putting Bijan or Brees ahead of him. I've been Brees over Bijan recently. I am a Jets fan. I try not to be a Jets homer. I will say the more I think about it with Nathaniel Hackett and Braylon Allen, I don't know. It's not going to be a committee, but it might be more annoying than we think, which is kind of scaring me off a bit.
You said you're a Jets homer. How do you feel about Garrett Wilson? Who's kind of your preferred target here?
Let's take Garrett Wilson here. I'm cool with that. Yeah, he seems like a perfectly fine 11th overall guy.
When you finally get Aaron Rodgers back, I feel like things can only look up, especially when he's drawn 160 targets every year. This is where it gets gross for me because I'm not huge on Marvin Harrison at wide receiver 9. I'm more of a JT guy here, or are you more of a slap double wide receiver early?
I'm actually a JT guy here as well, so I'll take JT if you're down.
Yep.
I've found myself. I mean, like we were talking about it earlier with like A-Chain in round 2. It might come to sting me because it's such a weird environment in Underdog where the wide receivers are so, like you're gonna have like the wide receiver 30 go before the RB 12 in this draft. So when you take a running back early, you definitely box yourself out of like creating a really nice wide receiver room. But I love these wide receiver RB starts where you can get JT or H-N in the second round. I will say the rest of the second round running backs I'm not crazy about. I would have been jumping for joy if we got Gibbs to come back to us because to me, I see like 3 tiers really in this like top 3 where you have the top 8, then you have Puka, Brown, Wilson, Gibbs. And if you can somehow get 2 of those 4, that actually feels really great on the turn. And then if not, it's just this, London all the way through like Devontae Smith in the middle of the third. So yeah, like JT to me is a fine like tiebreaker. He has the weekly ceiling. Some concerns with Andy Richardson taking away like goal line work and rushing work, but I also don't mind just betting on the talent.
And that's the half of it for me is I know who Jonathan Taylor is, and not that we don't know who Saquon Barkley is, but in a Philadelphia offense where Jalen Hurts is still, the number 1 threat around the goal line, Marvin Harrison Jr., who, I mean, let's be real, we're setting high expectations for a top 10 finish his rookie season. I mean, he could be that guy. Like, we could get a Jamar-esque rookie season out of him. But again, Olave hasn't done it. Ayuk, I mean, at 17.9 yards per reception this year, I'm sorry, he's just not going to repeat that this year. Devontae, been as consistent as ever, but, nobody loves the quarterback play. And then you get, Nico, Neighbors, Devon Achane. I mean, it's all these guys that just have massive question marks. And I feel like JT's like the most sure thing out of any of them.
Yeah,
Ron's a Jets fan.
Yeah, Pesky's a guy who he's a longtime supporter of the channel. He's being sarcastic here.
Well, thanks for giving Ron a hard time, Pesky. Let's see. So Debo, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf around the turn. This range is so disgusting to me. The only player I really like in this range is like a Mike Evans.
It's not pretty, man.
No,
the 2 like round 2 and 3 is crazy this year. I don't know if it's half PPR, if it's the format, but I think it's just kind of what I don't know. I just kind of think it's what the landscape is right now. ADP is as sharp as ever. Where if you remember, like heading into year 2 on Justin Jefferson, he was a round 2-3 turn guy. Chase as a rookie was a round 5 guy. We just don't get those gifts anymore, right. Which is, I don't know. It's a sign of the times that we're getting smarter as a community, but it's like, oh my God, man. Like, it's just not, it's not great, man. It's not great. Like you said, Marvin Harrison Jr., like there's no discount there. Like you're taking him over guys, and I get it. I get it. I think the thing with Marvin Harrison Jr. that I'm trying to sell myself on is this idea that these rookie wide receivers, they usually crush down the stretch, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Watson. So do I think that he finishes as a top 12 wide receiver overall? Probably not. But can he be like the wide receiver 3 in points, like Rashee Rice last year, like the wide receiver 3 in points per game from like weeks 10 on? Probably. I think that's in his range, but you're sacrificing a lot in that beginning half of the season.
Right, which is the one thing that I'm not sure if I can fully get over. But yet I look at Chris Olave and I look at all those other guys, and I'm like, why not? Like, why not? Yeah. Why not Marvin Harrison Jr. this year? Why can't it be him with Kyler Murray? And what we hope to be a full season. We're up in a few picks here. Again, board isn't pretty. I feel like you got to go wide receiver at this point because it just gets really ugly after this. But what say you?
Not sure. It's definitely not super straightforward. He goes Pittman. I almost I'm trying to think if we're going to be too light at receiver here, but I kind of want to go Josh Allen. We get some week 17 correlation on the other side of Brees.
Yep.
And we just talked about all of like how crappy the first two, like the first, second round and third rounds are. If you told me I had to take Josh Allen at like the 210 and that was just his ADP, I would be like, okay, like that's fine by me. Like right. He's someone who's going to score points, happy PPR. Like he gets a little bit of a boost there too, because, position players get sort of knocked down. He's pretty much a lock. And then we can just take whatever of the 3. Yeah. So Flowers or Higgins. I'm down for Flowers. I haven't really been taking a lot of him, but when he comes to the fourth round, I've been trying to mix him in more.
Let's mix him in because I've been taking a crap ton of Higgins recently.
Oh, me too.
So I mean, I love T Higgins this year, but for exposure's sake, let's mix in some Zay Flowers there. I mean, I threw this out in one of our podcasts. I think this was like 2 weeks ago, where like what's stopping Zay Flowers this year from having like a Rashee Rice second half of the season kind of upside, where he's this low ADOT guy, high target volume. If he finds the end zone more frequently, he's not the one in his offense because Mark Andrews is. But like, there's no other wide receivers around him. If you really want to count Devontae Walker, the 28th year of liking Rashad Bateman, sure, we can all try and get behind that. But I just love the volume that Zay Flowers could potentially get in year 2. I mean, he's the wide receiver there for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I agree, and I like I kind of like the just the offense environment that they're in here too. With I know like we like everyone talked about it a bunch last year with Todd Monken, and he wasn't like perfect, but this is still going to be a more pass heavy offense. Like obviously they're not going to be top 10 in pass attempts, but more pass heavy offense than you would think from a Lamar Jackson team. And like you said it best, like after Andrews, man, like they got nothing. Like we're talking, and I like Bateman. I've actually been mixing him in like the 16th round, but I don't like him enough to be like, I don't like him enough to be like, oh, Zay Flowers, like that's a real hurdle to Zay Flowers, But yeah, he had some games last year that were great in terms of just like lots of targets. He's good after the catch. He seems like he's someone that can, like he seems like he's a guy who can play, and he has that year 2 sort of breakout upside. And I don't mind paying that in the 4th. Like in this environment where wide receivers are, we just got him as like the wide receiver. I couldn't even tell you, like the wide receiver 26, 27 or something. So
26, 27.
Yeah, that feels about right to me.
I feel like those are the guys I want to take swings on as well in that range, right? I would rather not, reach down for an Amari Cooper and Tank Dell, who's a wide receiver 3 in an offense. I just feel like those are the guys like best ball redraft dynasty you should be targeting. The second year guys who have guaranteed volume, who showed signs of life their rookie season. If you just get Zay Flowers into space, he could break loose, no problem. I want to go back to this question just because round 2 is so iffy, and we did see Cooper Kupp go in round 2. Obviously, you and I talked about Puka at the beginning. Are you in on Cooper Kupp, or are you still holding on to the Triple Crown season, or is he toast this year for you?
He's a tough one, man. He's a really tough one. Like where he went in this draft, I can't. Like early 3rd. I'd rather the tight ends. I mean, I will be honest. Like that early 3rd, we did just say is gross.
Right.
I don't know. In half PPR, he becomes a tough sell. I know that's kind of a cop out answer. I don't hate him. Like if he was on the board when we took Zay Flowers, I would probably be fine with him. I would say I'm about lukewarm on him, where I'm not crazy about it. I'm not. I'll probably be, I'll probably be about even with the market, so like around 8% on Cooper Kupp. I mix him in when I can. I do just have some. I don't know. I'm open to the idea that his game will age gracefully, kind of like a Keenan Allen, where you don't need that long speed. But if like Puka Nacua kind of takes the reins as the true alpha in the offense, and he kind of, I don't know that, like you said, like the Triple Crown is really in his range anymore. Like it almost seems like it's sort of what he was before, the Triple Crown stuff, when he was just like a wide receiver, like a meh wide receiver 2 with Robert Woods, which I think is probably worth a 3rd round pick in this environment, right? Like you can kind of say a lot of the receivers are kind of like Michael Pittman, who gets drafted there, is sort of in that same area. So I don't know. He's not the worst pick in the world, but I don't know that I see the upside where like last year when he was dealing with his weird injury stuff, I was like, man, like you can take Cooper Kupp in the 5th round. Like we're talking like late August. And I was like, okay. But then
at that price, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now like third, 4th round, I can live with it, but I don't know that I mean, what a stretch, man. Like he is like the poster boy of, we try and outline what upside is, and we talk about with Devin Achane, he has upside, but like the white slot receiver, you would never think could have had like a Jerry Rice-esque season, and he did. I just don't know that that's in his range anymore.
No, not as long as Puka's there and dominating. I 100% agree with you. I wide receiver 24 is about where I'm comfortable taking him. I wouldn't take him any earlier than that. All right. Next pick on the board here. I'm really upset Joe Mixon went. I was hoping we could mix in a little bit of week 17 with Baltimore, but we got to get another wide receiver here too. I mean, Maybe we don't. I mean, Jaden Reed, Kyle Pitts, Ridley, Godwin,
I
Eileen,
would,
Jaden Reed.
yeah, let's go
Um,
Jaden Reed. Why not? We'll make some year 2 wide receiver bets here.
which I'm perfectly okay with. And frankly, I would rather bet on good young offenses like the Green Bay Packers that are going to be up and coming this year. Like, I mean, it's just a classic. I want pieces of good offenses that have a chance to take a big leap in year 2. So yeah, I'm all for Jaden Reed there. Calvin Ridley off the board next. So what we got 3 wide receivers. I'm not a so you put out a tweet the other day. You're a Roma Dunze guy.
I am a Roma
At least
Dunze guy. I like a Dunze, Godwin, and Pitts here. I don't really have a lean between the 3. I don't know if you have it.
My lean, I think my lean's going to be Pitts.
Let's do Pitts then. 6th round Pitts feels good to me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If we got again, I'm trying to live by the Hayden Winks model this year, right? Where he's been talking about, 5 wide receivers through what, 7 rounds, 6-7 rounds. I mean, we're sitting at 3, but if we're at what is it, 6 through 10, 7 through 10, something like that. I can't remember what the exact breakdown is. I'm trying to live by that a little bit more this year, mostly because I feel a lot better about my teams when I do that because of how quick wide receivers go off the board. Like it is, 30 wide receivers in the first 50 picks, 35 in the first 60. So wide receivers are flying off the board like crazy. But yet, if we end up with we can scroll down the board a little bit, JSN, Deontay Johnson, Christian Watson as our wide receiver 4. Like I'm actually very, very pleased with that this year, considering how heavy the wide receiver market is, but also how late running backs are going too. Like we're going to start getting to this range where, yeah, JT's our running back 1, but we could still pick up a David Montgomery, who else is in that range that I really like? Alvin Kamara, I know he won't be available at that point, but like Jonathan Brooks, DeAndre Swift, Jaylen Warren, I love all those guys in that range, which is just fascinating because it's literally wide receivers nonstop. And then it is like, okay, which running back do you want this round?
I kind of like how the environment has almost like we've all shook hands and decided okay, because like once you get to like that Sutton, Jameson Williams like part of the ADP, it's just like 12 running backs in a row, and it's just like right. Yeah, I mean this is where the wide receiver cliff sort of is, and from here you can take those running backs, and it just kind of like it just warps your whole view of kind of what fantasy football has been, because something I've harped on big in the past has been like this RB dead zone. And the RB dead zone is just like not a thing anymore because now these running backs are priced where they should be. We're like Kamara, if this was 2 years ago and it was 2023, Kamara would be like a 4th round pick. And I'd be like, oh, yeah. I can't get there. But then Kamara, he's going to be here. Like this guy at like the 12, 11, 10 spot is going to have to decide, do I take Kamara in the 7th? And that's a perfectly reasonable price for him. So it's really tough now because now you can't just fade a profile as much. You have to really make a stand relative to where he goes over just like, oh, well, this is a profile I've seen. Yeah. And then there Kamara goes.
Yeah. Mr. August and the fellas. Bindles, thanks for popping in, man.
Shout out Bindles, man.
You hop on his stream the other week? I thought I saw that.
I did. I want to say it was like a couple weeks ago. Me and him chopped it up. I don't think we ran up a underdog draft. I think that we did a dynasty draft, which was fun back in the dynasty, when dynasty was humming in like May or whatever.
Right, when it's May is literally dynasty month, when you can post a dynasty video and it's almost guaranteed 750 views if you're a small channel because everybody's hungry for dynasty.
Yep.
You have a strong take on Kamara this year. I feel like I can't quit Kamara this year, man. In the 7th round, when he and Olave are really the only two. I love Rashid Shaheed. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big Rashid Shaheed slappy, but I like Kamara running back 17. I feel like is a mistake this year.
Oh, I like him too. I agree what you said too. Anytime that he's in the 7th, I give him a real good look. Because I've said this before. I think that he feels a lot like Rachaad White last year, where I don't think that he's like as efficient of a runner anymore, but he's going to be top 5 in targets at the running back position. People are screaming up Kendre Miller. Oh, I don't really see it. I mean, if Kamara went down, like he would be interesting. But he like never stayed healthy last year. He didn't really do anything in year 1. So not all that interested in what he has to offer. Okay, this board is looking interesting here. This is about the rage where everyone just decides it's time for running backs.
Right.
Do you have a lean with any of these running backs? As Brooks goes, Brooks would have been my pick.
Yeah, I would have preferred Brooks. I have an obsession with Jalen Warren.
Oh yeah, let's do Warren.
Great. Thanks for approving my obsession. I just can't get behind Najee Harris going ahead of him when Jalen Warren is very clearly the receiving back there. He's going to catch a crap ton more passes. Again, I know it's only half PPR, but that's my lean. As Jameson Williams goes,
I wouldn't mind Sutton, but I could be talking to another running back.
I kind of want to forget running back later. Out of Zamir White, Swift, Moss, you have a preference?
Probably Swift for me of those options.
Let's do that. I think I think Zamir White's my least exposed, but Zamir White is one of those where he terrifies me because everything is almost too good for him, where it's like, all right, your backup is Alexander Madison, who, as a Minnesota Viking fan, I could not wait for him to get off of the football field last year. Yet it could be one of those where, we're walking into a Mike Davis trap, right? Of what was that 2020 that everybody was like, yeah, Mike Davis.
I think 2021. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's the interesting part of what we just said. Where Mike Davis in this environment goes from a 5th round pick, right? Like during those times, he was a 5th round pick. He'd be like a 9th, 10th round pick now. So it's it's priced in now, but it's still not a sexy pick. I'm not crazy about Zamir White either. And I agree. It does feel too good to be true. But he could, especially half PPR, he could be just fine. But man, I got to squint to really see how he is this pick that it's man, where we look back in late September, it's man, I wish I drafted more Zamir White. I don't know that I don't know if that ever comes out of anybody's mouth.
Right. When I look at him and Zach Moss, everybody's obsessed with Chase Brown right now, it feels like. And I'm the only one sitting here do we not see the role that Zach Moss is stepping into? To me, Zach, neither of them are sexy, but if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pick the guy in a better offense who's stepping into a role that, has been a top 10 running back the last 3 years. And I'm not going to get reckless and just say Zach Moss is going to be top 10 this year. But if you're asking me to choose between those two, I'll just take the guy who's in a better offense. And they went out and wasted no time getting after they cut bait on Joe Mixon. You a Chase Brown guy? You have a lean or a preference there? I mean, with Zach Moss,
I do like Chase Brown.
You are Chase Brown slappy. I knew it. I just
like that profile. He reminds me of Jalen Warren a ton. As a guy that has juice, can pay off, he can catch passes. And Moss I've never really liked. I do get it. He is similar to Zamir White, where you have the situation that's nice, and it's baked in, right? He just went in the 8th round, so he's not the worst pick in the world. But I could see Chase Brown, to me, he is it's actually shocking how he's multiple rounds or a couple rounds cheaper than Moss right now, which I think is pretty nice. I think his ADP is just shy of 120, so a 11th round pick, I think. I don't know if I'm doing that math correctly, but yeah, I like Chase Brown. Has a lot of juice too, where he can kind of give you some spike weeks as well. So yeah, he is the profile that I do like to take some flyers on.
Well, and again, when you bake in his price as well, I don't mind taking Chase Brown, and like you said, the 11th round, that feels more appropriate to me. At that point, let's see, who do we have for wide receivers on the board, because that's who we're going to be looking at this point. Dobbs, Shakir, Shaheed. I mean, based on Allen as the quarterback, I mean, I think it's. Can we agree it's probably going to be Shakir here as our preference?
I agree.
You have a lean on this Buffalo wide receiver room between Curtis Samuel, Shakir, Keon Coleman. You have a lean on any of those guys, or is it mostly just going to be an ADP thing for you?
It's really. I will be honest. I don't love Khalil Shakir, but I think we're in a spot where we have to take him here just because we have Allen. Yep. It's tough. I'd probably take I'd have Curtis Samuel ahead of Shakir, which the market already has. So yeah, let's take Shakir as the first pick here.
Yep.
Do you have any? I'm a Jets fan. I don't like Mike Williams, but he does make sense as a bring back in the Bills Jets Week 17 matchup.
Yeah.
And you said you wanted 5 receivers through 10, so that would get us there.
That would get us there.
I'm down for that if you're down for Williams.
Yeah, if we didn't have Jaden Reed, I think I'd be a Romeo Dobbs guy. But for the sake of the Week 17 correlation and considering we don't even have any Vikings, nor probably will get any Vikings unless if we really feel like taking TJ Hawkinson. I'm good with Mike Williams there. He's kind of one where I like close my eyes, make the pick, and hopefully, forget that he's on this team. And if he pays off, he pays off.
But with the Bills, I hate to say it, man. It was kind of a meme maybe a week or two ago. I kind of buy Chase Claypool like being a guy in this offense. I know that's crazy. I know that's crazy to say out loud. I kind of buy it. Because it's just like, how many slot receivers can you put on the field at once, man? Like Khalil Shakir is slot, Curtis Samuel is a slot.
Dalton Kincaid's playing on the inside.
Yeah, Dalton Kincaid's going to be a slot type of guy. So yeah, like I don't know, the Bills' weapons are tough to pin down, and I kind of have been taking this approach where I'll take out, because Allen's going to get there. I don't know who he's throwing to. I don't care what he's throwing to or who's the offensive coordinator. He's going to get there as a fantasy quarterback and finish as a top 3 guy no matter what. And then just kind of as the room sort of plays itself out, just taking whatever pieces of that offense I can. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Shakir at this price. I guess I'm okay with Curtis Samuel. I do like Keon Coleman a bit, but I do even think like, I think he goes like 6th round, which even feels steep there.
It's like wide receiver 42. I just like,
yeah.
I don't think I've clicked Keon Coleman once in that range, and it's mostly just because of ADP.
Yeah, I only do it if I have Allen, and I'm actually like one of the biggest, like dynasty season, I was caping up for Keon Coleman big time, but his biggest issue is in that, like, what scares me off in redraft is that he's so raw. I don't know how long it'll take him to hit his stride. Like, I don't know that he can just line up at X and be a difference maker, in a timely fashion that you'd like to for a 6th round pick. So that's really my biggest holdup with him. I will say, you asked me about Bills. I've been mixing in. I will say I haven't pressed the button on Chase Claypool just yet, but I'm ready to start.
Let's do it. We'll do it in this draft.
All right, and then I also I do like I've been taking some Dawson Knox, man. Dawson Knox is going to catch like 4 or 5 touchdowns. I swear.
No, he'll have to. I mean, again, when you rattle off the weapons, again, Samuel, Shakir, Kincaid. Gosh, why didn't that name come to me? Kincaid will obviously get his work this year. Like Keon Coleman, like I hate being the guy who's like, dude can't separate, but also like, are you just expecting Josh Allen to just force every single ball in a perfect spot to him? That concerns me. Like Dawson Knox could just be the guy where it's like around the goal line. Great. Go up and get one for me, Dawson Knox, because that's actually what you're good at. So yeah, I am more than down to slap Dawson Knox in 17th, 18th round if he's still there too.
And they got Marquez Valdes-Scantling too. I'm just looking through what their room looks like.
Right. That's right. Oh, I forgot he signed there.
And he makes sense. He makes more sense than Samuel or Shakir on the perimeter.
I mean, he really does. 100% agree. Shakir injury not serious. What is he dealing with again? I don't know.
I'd say too early for me to care too much.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Come August, and we're still talking about it, then I'll get a little bit more concerned. But at that point, then I might also drive his ADP down from 54 to a range where I'm actually more interested in taking him here. I'll ask this question after we get to our pick here. I mean, we're in the just disgusting range here of that's false. I almost said I hate all these wide receivers. And then I saw Jahan Dotson on the board and I changed my mind because I can't quit Jahan Dotson. Man, I will
say I'll throw a name out there. Is Xavier Legette hanging around?
He is. He should be 67, 65. I've drafted a ton of him too.
I think Legette would be my vote.
I'm down to slap Legette then. I've drafted. I think he's probably like my 5th highest exposure, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Mostly because, Deontay Johnson, I think we can agree is the one, but Adam Thielen, really, we're gonna trust him after he basically fell off in the second half of the season. Legette's got some juice, man. Like, I know he was a 5th-year breakout, but I mean, the amount of stuff that kid's been through. In Dave Canales' offense, I'm not gonna be surprised if he actually is worth his first round draft capital this year.
No, I agree. Do you have a lean here? I don't really. I know you were looking at Dotson.
Dude, I'm such a believer in Jahan Dotson still. I just like I look at that offense I could be talked into Charbonnet or Zeke here even. I'm still faithful to Zeke, even though I hate it. But I think given our wide receiver room with JT
Yeah,
and
let's do
Lawrence and
Dotson.
Swift, I would rather keep cranking out wide receivers here, mostly because I have a lot of confidence in our wide receiver room. You get a little bit of 17 there with Washington and Atlanta as well, with Pitts at the tight end position. I love Dotson, the talent. I refuse to believe that last year is representative of his NFL career. Mostly, when his yards per route run just absolutely sunk. It was like 0.83, I think, yards per route he ran last year, which is just disgusting. But also when you have Sam Howell, who is basically a career backup, throwing him the football, and Eric Bieniemy, who I think answered all the questions as to why he couldn't get a head coaching job in the NFL last year. Like, I hope Eric Bieniemy has a successful career, but like watching that offense last year was just, I'm sorry, it was abysmal. It was, as someone who like put all my chips on the line for Jahan Dotson last year, I'm just happy there's some sort of turnover this year with Heisman winner Jaden Daniels, and we can clown Cliff Kingsbury all we want, but like Christian Kirk, I know he's not going to be playing the same role as Jahan Dotson won't be playing the same role as Christian Kirk. Like Christian Kirk was like wide receiver 30, I believe it was wide receiver 37 in Kyler's rookie season. D Hop was still a top 10 guy. And Jahan Dotson to me is going to be the better NFL talent than Christian Kirk is, despite how much I like Christian Kirk too. But I refuse to believe what we saw at Jahan Dotson last year is representative of the future of his NFL career.
I don't hate that. I will be honest. I have kind of cut ties with Jahan Dotson,
and I don't blame you. Like I'll just give him the ammo again this year. Like he can kill me all over again. That's fine. That's a bet I'm willing to take at the wide receiver 63. But I don't blame anybody who is ready to cut bait on Dotson this
because
year.
For me, I wasn't a huge fan as a rookie, and then as a prospect. Then as a rookie, He showed us some stuff. Where if you split some things, he had like an injury and he had a really strong finish, and then we had some perception data, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll bend the knee. First round draft capital. I was wrong on him as a prospect,
right?
And then last year, I do think there's merit to what you're saying, because there is something too where we've seen these quarterbacks who hold the damn ball for so long, like Baker and Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Where DJ Moore couldn't produce with Baker, because Baker, I mean, it was different with Canales and Mike Evans, but in that offense, DJ Moore couldn't produce because Baker holds the ball, gets to his like third, fourth, fifth read. Right. And even last year, you saw guys like, this is just another sort of stray towards the enemy, but it's not even so much like Diami Brown, but there were like other receivers too. Like, I don't know if Sims was out there. Like they would run, no, I don't know if it was Sims, but they would run routes for random dudes sometimes, which was very weird. So I don't hate that. I will say, I think it was Dynasty Zoltan did a little study on like anybody who hits like below like a 1.25 yards per out run is usually dead. And I think Dotson fits in that range. And as a Jets fan, I hate to say this, I hate to even put this out there, he sadly gives me a lot of Elijah Moore vibes. Talented rookie year breakout, and then just lost it. Like I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out here and proves everyone wrong and bounces back. But and this is coming from a guy who believes in Rashad Bateman. So like he's a very similar story to Jahan Dotson. We're hoping for a bounce back, but very rare do these things happen.
Piss Burton. I'm Jermaine. If it's not Xavier Legette, Jermaine Burton is probably he's a top 5 exposure for me as well. Man, I'm Bateman's here. You got to lean on any of these guys in this range?
Let's do.
We could go Rodgers if we. Well, that's a double week 17. We don't need that.
Let's do. Let's do Rashad Bateman. We might as well, just for
we've referenced him 5 times already. We may as well take him.
He has to come on down. And then I got another idea. What's it going to be? MVP. I would probably take Gibson here. I've been taking a lot of him.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
We
got to sort of think about how we're going to land this plane here too. I think it's going to be I think we're going to go 2 quarterback, 2 tight ends.
Yep, I agree.
Like 2-5-9-2 probably is right around where we'll be at, or
Yep, that's what I was thinking at this point. I mean, normally when I go super elite quarterback and elite tight ends, if we really want to call Pitts elite tight end in this format, I would.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable just going 2 and 2 and then drafting a crap ton of or drafting a relatively strong running back room and then just drafting a crap ton of wide receivers and throwing your darts at again the Chase Claypools in the later rounds here. I had brought up Zeke. I don't want to waste too much time on Zeke. You have a lean on the Dallas Cowboys backfield. I feel like I've been asking, do you have a lean? But I kind of like Zeke still, but I'm also like, is Rico Dowdle like Walmart Tony Pollard for him this year?
It's a brutal spot, man. I still really, and the longer the offseason goes on, the longer it's going to be pretty dumb. But I just can't imagine Jerry Jones being comfortable with this running back room. The entire time he's been there, they have had, DeMarco Murray. We're talking prime Zeke Elliott. We're talking, Pollard. You're talking even before that, I don't know, Emmitt Smith and all those guys.
Right.
I could see, I truly, in my heart of hearts, I really do think one of Javonte Williams, Dameon Pierce, Khalil Herbert, Elijah Mitchell end up a Dallas Cowboy. I would say 50-50 chance that happens, but if it doesn't, I do agree with you. I think that they'll just kind of run back the Zeke Pollard model that they had when Zeke was better than he is now. But so 2021, pre Pollard fully breaking out. And that'll make both of them kind of draftable, where I think Dowdle will have his weeks, but I think it'll be frustrating where it's this guy's clearly the better running back, give him the ball. But there's just something about Jerry Jones and McCarthy loving kind of the steadiness of Zeke. So yeah, I think they're both draftable. I'm not crazy about either, especially in half PPR where I don't know that Zeke has the juice these days to give you a crazy weekly ceiling that could kind of push you over. But he's going so late that you probably don't need the upside of a 25-point spike week from Zeke, No,
not at the running back 40. And I don't even know if, like you said, I don't even know if he has that in the tank. He's got to get those the late season targets without Ramondre Stevenson in New England, when he's second in team targets for New England last year. That's just so stupid. I can't believe he saw 65 targets last year, but that's what it's going to take if he's going to give you one of those weeks. I'm still a believer in Zeke. I'm with Jerry Jones, as long as Jerry Jones sees the fact that he's got feed me tattooed on his stomach, I feel like they're just going to keep putting the ball in his gut. But it's not a pick I love. But if I'm desperate for a third running back, and I've been drafting the crap out of wide receivers, I'll throw a dart on him on a running back 3, but I really, really don't. I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great drafting Zeke, but
I don't either. He could be this year's Gus Edwards, though, man. He could score 10 touchdowns, and it wouldn't be pretty, but it's in the range.
Right. I 100% agree. PPR Tyler, let's go. Fun fact about Tyler. Tyler and I we used to go to daycare together, and he lives
really
5 minutes down the road from me now. Yeah. That was a crazy connection. He does some work for Player Profiler, and Larky had retweeted a photo when they were out in I don't remember where they were for the NFL draft, but they all got together. I'm like, there's no freaking way. I swear that's Tyler. And wouldn't you know, I follow him on Twitter, and he's out here doing best ball drafts every single day. So shout out to Tyler, Best Ball Barbecue. This is the important question, though. We'll get some more pesky action in the chat. Any thoughts on Keon Coleman guarding Luka Doncic? MVP of NBA Finals? Can that go to the losing team? That possible?
I was tweeting about that the other day. I would love to see it. Jerry West just passed. So he was the only guy to ever do it. But no, I don't. Luka's, somebody was right in the comments. If LeBron couldn't do it in the Iggy year, it probably is not going to happen. But I don't know. It would be cool. I will say Luka, it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but on defense, he's been just doing nothing. He just loafs the entire time, which I love. But it's holy shit, man. It's that's Jason Tatum wide open, man. Right. Put a hand, just walk to him or something.
Hip check him, hand check him, do something, draw foul. I don't care what you do, but
yeah,
dude moves 2 feet on defense. Yeah. Man, running backs are pretty gross here, and we need another one. I guess we have 4. Rodgers is still sitting here. Rodgers is taking quite a tumble here.
What's Allen's bye week?
He's got 12.
12, yeah. So we're screwed there.
Yeah.
I do find myself liking me some. I'd be down for Braylon Allen. It's a little bit of a reach if you don't mind, but
Nope,
gets
I
us on the
don't.
other side of that Jets Bills game.
Yep.
So then we're done at running back. It kind of comes down to, so we can talk ourselves into Tyler Conklin if we want to build out more of that Jets. I don't know if we want to save that for Knox, but we could also save that last pick for like. We need to also think about quarterback here soon, but I think that Conklin
Yeah.
is probably the play.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't have the same buy as Pitts, which I don't think he does.
We'll triple check quick.
Oh my
Shit,
god, he does. Go with like Demario Douglas, maybe.
Yeah,
That would be my pick.
slap him. We'll slap him. That's fine. We'll get some safety in that wide receiver room. Oh man, I see because I agree. I think Conklin would have been the pick there, especially
Yeah.
if we're well, and of course Pitts has week 12, so we can't even consider. Man, bye week bros are gonna hate this with all the week 12.
All right, so now we're at 9 receivers, which is fine. Now we need a tight end and a quarterback here. And the quarterbacks we have set up are May. I think we have Bryce Young set up a little bit here too. I don't know if he's even on the board still.
No, he will be. He's going like quarterback 25.
Okay. And then worst case scenario, we have McCarthy on the other side of our Green Bay stuff.
Yep.
Okay. I think we can land this plane. I do.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing. This is what I wanted to bring this up earlier. You and Overzet got a little bit of beef, I saw too, in terms of Pete's very much laissez-faire, not necessarily a full out Jesus take the wheel kind of draft, but like let the draft come to you. And I've been watching more of his streams recently, and like there's something like maddening about that to me, because I am very much like, all right, which week 17 correlation can I target? Like my first 3 rounds are going to dictate which stacks I take. But I've been trying to get better at this. But then of course, the board falls to you where you take 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. Are you starting to adopt that? Are you totally over that at this point? Like just totally turning heel on Pete?
No, Pete's the best.
He is.
I've told him like anytime he reaches out, I clear the schedule for Pete. He's a maniac, dude. It's June. Like this is a slow period for me. I haven't posted like a true like video with research and stuff in like a few weeks here. Just sort of doing some stuff on the back end, and he's out here on a random Monday doing 4-hour streams. Making me feel guilty about not grinding harder. This guy has a wife and a kid, and I'm sitting here in my mom's basement. So I'm trying to think through it, but yeah, like for him, he mixes it. He kind of talks about mixing it in to sort of get like a different view of the board where you let the computer pick your first 3 to 5 pick. I think that he does 5 picks, but I did 3 picks. I got out the shower because I did it, and then I get out the shower and I see Kyron Williams 3 straight running backs. And that was just like that just can't fly. I'm happy it wasn't a BBM entry at least.
Right.
But yeah, it's an interesting idea he had, but you would be surprised. He is very on top of the week 17 correlation. He's thinking through, because I sometimes am more like laissez-faire than him, where I'll be on a stream with him and he'll be talking through like, oh, we can't take this because we're going to want a quarterback in week 16. And I'm like, dude, like, I just wanted to take this guy because I thought he was going to score points. Like,
player take, man. You got to have your player takes too. But there's like something beautifully manic about that. Where it's like, computer, go ahead. All right, let's see what we got. We still got Bryce Young on the board if we want to take him here. Praying that if Raul goes, okay, good.
All right, let's go Bryce Young then.
Let's go Bryce Young, and then we're gonna need a tight end on the comeback here. You think of Dawson Knox?
Yeah, let's do Dawson Knox. I think that makes a ton of sense for us.
Yeah, with the Allen stack, we only got Shakir. I wouldn't mind one more Buffalo piece in that Jets Bills week 17 matchup.
Damn, he has the same buy as Pitts. He's the same buy as Pitts. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know. Like, do you want to stomach that? I mean, you can. No, I think my vote would be like an uncorrelated Dulcich, as like disgusting as that seems. If you want to get really weird, Tommy Tremble to Bryce Young, but that's like really weird.
That's extremely
so those are my
weird.
3 options for you. Those are my 3 options. Dulcich.
No, let's go uncorrelated Dulcich. I do want to draft a bit more of him, mostly because I still believe in the talent, but
I love this. We have like the land of misfit toys on our team. We
Oh,
got Dolchich, we got Jahan
totally
Dotson,
do.
Rashad Bateman,
It's like
Bryce
I
Young. You
can't.
guys were all left for dead.
I'm not proud. This isn't the best draft I've ever cranked out, but this is I enjoy the streaming and drafting more than
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like winning $1.5 million too, but half of this is the enjoyment of actually chopping up player takes and seeing what we can cook up along the way. I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't hate the bones of this team because I think we took a lot of chances on second year breakout guys, even young breakout guys as well. But I think we mixed in a few correlation pieces
I
as
think
well.
it's built well. It's built well. Both our quarterbacks are stacked. I like the we have a lot of that Jets Bills game, which we'll see if that scores well. Yeah, and I think that we structured it well too, where we took Wilson up top, JT to kind of anchor the running backs as well. So yeah, I think it looks solid.
I think we're solid. It's again, I think we got.
I wouldn't post this screenshot on Twitter. No. I don't think that it'll do numbies or anything. But
that's like the ultimate deciding factor of how good is your team. Am I going to post it on Twitter afterwards or not? Yeah, I've definitely had more than enough of those this year. It's like, yeah, I'll just pretend I didn't draft this team and I'll see if it even
No, you got to post the first if you get like a nice first 5 picks because there's very 100%. Few 18 round teams that everybody can agree that's a good team.
Right. You can say, wow, look at how beautifully I pieced these first 5 rounds together. And you can get the picture afterwards. And then, of course, it all goes downhill when somebody reaches on Kirk Cousins, 25 picks ahead of ADP when you have the London pit stack going.
Yep.
No, I agree. I ultimately feel really good about this. We'll pull up the team one more time here just so that people can see. Josh Allen, Bryce Young. I started with JT, Jalen Warren, Swift, Gibby, and Braylon Allen. I do really like this running back room. I think it's one of my favorites. Yeah. I love going that wide receiver running back split to start off and then waiting until that range of basically running backs 20 through 28. I'll give it to Raheem Mostert, where you can take 2 of those guys and you've got a really stacked running back room when you can start with a Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed kind of start too. I'm like, how do you feel about the wide receivers? I feel like from Shakir on, some of it was player take guys. Legette's a little bit of a player take prospect take guy. Jahan Dotson again. You're kind of ready to mail in on Dotson. I'm a sicko and can't quit him quite yet. I don't know. Grade the wide receiver room. What do you think? Like B-?
Yeah, I'd give it a B- because we threw quantity at it. We knew that we weren't going to have the top end, or we knew we weren't going to have like the crazy, 5 wide receivers through 6 rounds. But Wilson up top, and then you get some year 2 breakouts with Reed and Flowers, and then I do like the pick of like Legette gives us upside down the stretch, and then I do like the picks of like because I'm not crazy about Shakur, but I do think there is a bit of a floor there as just a guy who'll get on the field. He's going to, his big weeks are going to line up with Josh Allen. And then also Demario Douglas giving us some like stable floor there. I think Mike Williams is another one of those guys too. Of like, he's not going to be a home run hit. Like Mike Williams isn't going to finish top 12 and win you $1.5 million, but he could kind of pass the baton until Legette gets there or until the inevitable Rashad Bateman 35-point week 14 that I keep dreaming about. So yeah, that's I think that we did it well because it's not like we're not lacking a true like number one because we have Wilson, and then we also built it out with 9 guys. And I think we built out the rest of the team so that we could, afford 9 receivers. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and again, as long as it's correlated in my mind, because again, you look at like, is it a naked Dotson? I mean, no, not necessarily, because you still get the week 17 correlation with Pitts there too. You at least get a little bit of game stacking going on there.
And Legette's a young.
Right, exactly. Yep, you get Legette young. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's relatively well correlated. If anything happens to Zay Flowers, Bateman is going to be one of the first guys up to step in there. So, I mean, all in all, I am a fan of this team. But again, if we're grading it on, am I posting it to Twitter afterwards? This would not be a watch me get numbers on Twitter. But then again, I'm a sicko like hitting with the gritty where I'll post a hero wide receiver team where I got 86% exposure to Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind. But
I love
anyways,
that.
no, there's something like beautifully, again, manic and just sick about it. That I'm like, you do you, man. I'll take your money, but you do you. You stand on your takes. There's something respectable about that. What do you got going on in the channel, Ron? We're getting into the thick of content here, like you said, starting to get more into research-based videos, some more stronger player take videos. What do you got on the channel? What can people be expecting from you?
Yeah, I'll say I stream every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on my channel. My channel is just Ron Stewart. It's just my name.
Down in the
And
description, you
yeah,
can go give Ron a sub if you haven't already. Great content.
hell
I love
yeah.
your content, Ron. So yeah, go
Thank you,
give Ron
man.
some love there. Yeah.
But yeah, so streaming every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and then I think that I'm gonna have like one tie the bow on the Dynasty season video, maybe like this weekend, and then starting next week, we're gonna start cranking out redraft videos, where we're diving on the players. I've kind of stood back, done some stuff behind the scenes. Like I just got done with my first run through of rankings, which, like you said earlier, I was gonna mention it earlier when you said it. It's tough to have player takes for every player in June,
Right.
So when you actually sit down and you make rankings, you kind of start to get a feel for how you see the board instead of just like, oh, I'll take DeAndre Swift here when it makes sense or whatever. So getting those in place and kind of figuring out, oh, well, who are my targets this year? Who do I like at this price? We're starting to lock everything in. So yeah, expect some videos, some streams, rankings, all that good stuff will be on the Ron Stewart YouTube. I did want to mention it because I'm bad about it, and Overzet got on me the other day. I have a podcast feed as well. So if you don't want to watch the videos, I upload the audio to like Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. I've been doing that probably since like I'd say like 85% of my videos I get up there since like last season. So if you like to listen to things, that's on there too.
Yeah, go give Ron some love. Go sub to the channel. Go sub to the pod feed if you're one of those people that just wants something quick to listen in on your drive to work every morning. Yeah, go give Ron some love over there. We're big supporters of Ron, and part of the Underdog family together. I'll name that. Both incubator creators. So grateful for your time, Ron. Really appreciate it. You're welcome back here anytime. I wouldn't be surprised if I reach out to you again at some point this offseason. These are just so easy and simple. And again, at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night, what else are we doing? Probably drafting best ball teams anyway, so we may as well hop on a stream together and do it. So no, appreciate your time, man. Again, if you're not subbed here already, Fantasy Football Fellas, turn on those notifications as well. You'll know when we go live. We got shorts, YouTube videos coming out absolutely constantly. It's tough to go without a piece of content on our channel almost every single day. So if you're not subbed here already, would appreciate it. Yeah, make sure you got those notifications on as well. We got a podcast coming out tomorrow. We got 2 podcasts, 2 YouTube videos coming out every single week, mixing some shorts as well. Yeah, really getting knee deep into redraft season here, which is exciting. So again, appreciate the time, Ron. We will see all of you next Wednesday on stream. See y'all then. Deuces.